Hi guys, welcome back to Infinite Possibilities, the podcast where we explore the lives of amazing people, their choices, challenges and opportunities. And today I have a very special guest, Z. Hello!
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I know this ain't your usual thing that you do, doing interviews, and I know that you're super camera shy, so I think it's a big honor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Z, what is your kind of 1 minute intro?
I work as a cybersecurity consultant
Awesome.
at EY. I've got 4 kids
Oh my gosh.
and I work part-time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we're going to talk about the part-time, full-time mum and part-time
Yes.
employee. Yeah. So Z, we're going to go right from the beginning. What kind of kid were you like growing up?
My friends and family would probably describe me as honest, hardworking and empathetic.
Yeah.
I'd give you a few examples. Like when my dad used to come from work, I'd run out to the road and carry 10-kilo groceries because I knew what a hard day he would have had, and to lighten the load, I wanted to carry the 10-kilo groceries when I was
like
a kid.
A tiny kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
Also, I couldn't see in school. So from around 5 years old, I probably should have had glasses.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to say anything to my parents because I didn't want them to incur any costs.
Yeah.
So then I listened through my schooling.
Which I think is incredible.
Probably crazy is how I'd say it. Or yeah, I also was embarrassed, I guess, to
Yeah.
have glasses that they could afford to buy for me because it wouldn't have been anything trendy or smart. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't earn you popularity points.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, and then you also told me about a very pivotal moment in your childhood, which was seeing your grandpa pass away.
I was 4 when my granddad passed away, so I was really young. It's very traditional, like in South Africa, because I'm born in South Africa, and culturally they bring the body home.
Yeah.
And so I sat in front of his body, quite brave actually. I remember sitting there thinking how short life is, and
you were only 4.
that could be me one day. Yeah, I guess.
How did you have such deep thoughts? I would have just been like, oh.
I think I was sad that he passed away because he would favor me a lot and protect me from my mum because she'd run around the table trying to hit me when I was naughty. And also he spoiled me. We were very poor like growing up, and he would spend most of his money buying me mangoes because that was my favorite fruit.
That's so cute.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. Oh, sweet memories. Yeah, and then tell me more about how you fit in the school environment. Were you the academic kid? Were you sporty? Were you popular?
Probably none of the above. Not popular, sporty or academic. I did get straight A's though.
And you couldn't see, like, wow, you must have great hearing.
I think it was because I was so scared of not doing something with my life and not being successful that I worked really hard at home. Like on a Sunday, I pre-read the lessons from the textbook.
Wow.
Just so that I could be on top of things, because not being able to see the blackboard was really hard.
Yeah. But that's amazing that you just combated it by putting in extra work and reading ahead.
Yeah.
You found your way to cope, and that's pretty smart for like a 5-6-year-old.
Yeah, I guess. I think it was survival.
Yeah,
I don't think
survival. It was probably quite a stressful period in life for you.
Yeah, most of my childhood was quite stressful. But I think the funny thing is, in those moments, I didn't find it stressful. I was quite a happy kid.
Really?
So, yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that you sort of have an optimistic attitude in life?
Yes, my husband does call me an eternal optimist, so...
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah, and so when you were a kid, like, in terms of careers, what was kind of floating through your mind?
Well, as a child, probably from around 5, I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, hello, doctor.
This was probably because my mum was really unwell. She was mostly bedridden or very unwell. She had undiagnosed bipolar.
Yeah.
And so being a kid, I foolishly thought I could fix her. So I thought I'd be a doctor and then I'd make her better and, everything will be great. I think just as a kid, from those childlike thinking I just wanted a mum that was well, that could
Yeah.
bake me a cake and
Yeah.
sing me happy birthday. But yeah, I think I fainted when I cut myself the first time, when I saw blood. So I
Yeah.
think the doctor thing definitely went out the door.
Yeah, I could never do the doctor thing as well, like blood and anything. I couldn't do it. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then, yeah, do you want to talk about any defining turning points in your life?
Um,
So your dad, he only went to year 3.
So I think most things from my childhood would have been turning points for me. So my dad only went to year 3
Yeah.
schooling. Mum did till year 5. So finishing primary school would have been like my first milestone.
Yeah.
Then finishing high school.
Yeah.
Then going to uni. So just I think there were just each step along the way was a milestone for me because it was more than what my parents had done.
Yeah.
I also grew up in this tiny town, and yeah, it's like mostly abandoned
Yeah.
currently, or like, you know, as the my generation kids grew up, they left.
Yeah.
So I left Glencoe. That was probably really huge for me as well. I straight out of school, high school, got a job at Standard Bank,
Oh,
which is probably
awesome.
like an ANZ equivalent. It's one of the
Yeah.
biggest big banks in South Africa. In that job, I earned at the age of 18 about 3 times more than my dad's salary.
Crazy.
So that was huge.
And how did you get that job, by the way?
My aunt worked at the bank,
Yeah.
and she kind of just said, you know, I was free, and I
Yeah.
filled in for someone who went on maternity leave.
Yeah.
So she got me the job, and mostly as a December, you know, just
Yeah.
holiday job. Yeah. What else? I went to university. Yeah, I guess I was
all
the
milestones.
first for most of the things that I did in my family, my immediate family.
Yeah.
What else? What else did you want to know?
Yeah. Tell me more about going to university, because I know your dad, he wasn't initially too supportive. Like, why go to uni?
I guess dad. So again, culturally,
Yeah.
I'm Indian. I'm also Muslim. So
And you're also a girl. Wow.
and a girl. So when you put those 3 together, female, diverse, you know, going to university wasn't at the forefront of our conversations at home. I remember Dad saying, "Why do you want to do that? You're going to end up in the kitchen anyway."
Yeah.
And he wasn't being mean. That was what girls did. Like, they finished school and got married, and ended up being housewives in
Yeah.
mostly, not for everyone, but mostly in, you know, either my family or my culture.
Yeah.
And then I also grew up in apartheid South Africa, so, you know, the area we lived in, Glencoe, was an all-Indian area, and I went to an all-Indian school.
Nice.
So it was also kind of weird to go, I want to go to university.
Yeah, you're living in like a bubble. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Why go to uni? Why not just, I don't know, get married young, have those kids?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's what most of the girls did in that town. Like, they finished school, got married, had kids. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Why uni? Was it something that interested you, or?
Well, Mum was unwell most of her life, and we were also really poor. So she used to basically chant around the house.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. I remember she took a hammer once and wanted to smash the TV because we weren't doing our homework.
Yeah.
And yeah, she used to say knowledge is power, and so I figured there'd be some like truth in that, and
Yeah.
I thought I'll educate myself.
Yeah, so I guess your mum would have been very supportive that you wanted to go to uni.
Yeah, like, Mum had a hard life, so she just wanted me to be educated and travel and, you know, have a good life for myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then tell me what you decided to study when you went to uni.
So it was naturally my first choice, accounting, because I
Nice.
was good at school. I got 90% most of the time, even
Wow.
without seeing. I think
Yeah.
because accounting is easy. You can't cheat with numbers. You just got to understand the concept.
Yeah.
So I was good at accounting. Then I wanted to make money quick because of my parents' financial situation. So my uncle that I lived with, my aunt and uncle took me in to go to university. He suggested that I do something in information systems or IT. And he said it would be a lot quicker to get that degree and earn money quickly. So that was my second major that I chose. And in the first year of uni, we had a new lecturer, and he sold internal audit as a subject. And he basically put the textbook in the bin and said, like, don't tell anyone. And said, you know, register for my subject. It's mostly common sense. So I thought, sounds like an easy one to do. So
sounds like an easy A.
Yeah, so then I combined accounting, internal audit, and information systems as my majors for university.
Yeah, so tell me, how hard was it? Did you really not have to study for it?
I failed everything
Oh my
in my
gosh.
second year. Because in my first year, you know, I think you just have a big head when you're smart in school and think you can continue the same way. And so I didn't actually study, but I passed. I just managed to pass. But in my second year, I failed, I think, almost all of my subjects, except information systems. And then I got like a warning from the uni that if I didn't pass everything in my next semester, I'd be kicked out.
Yeah.
So then I was really scared because I didn't want to go back to Glencoe.
Yeah.
I then registered for 6 subjects in one semester, and you're only allowed a maximum of 5, and I passed all of it. So I had...
How?
I think I was doing law and another, because I needed fillers, and so I did commercial law and another subject at the same time because I needed the credits. And I think I registered, the lady doing the registration, I bought her a pretty scarf or something, and she just kind of went, as long as you pass, I won't get into trouble. So she was like, make sure you pass.
So ambitious.
Yeah, I guess at that point then I was determined to change
Survival.
my life. It was survival, yeah. And so I didn't want to go back to Glencoe. I had only one option, that was to pass.
Yeah. Sounds like you thrive under pressure. Is that true or not?
It is sadly true. I think
That's how diamonds are made.
I think it's survival mechanisms. When you put under extreme pressure, then the best part of me comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that stress is not healthy for me though now. So
Yeah. And then tell me about the struggle to pay for education and that 6-figure debt. Ooh.
Yes, so to get to uni was also a challenge financially, so I didn't have the money to be there. My first semester, my aunt bought me the textbooks, but I didn't have any funding for the rest of my studies. So in year 12, I got a newspaper, I borrowed some money, and I looked at about 100 companies in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and then wrote to each of these companies and basically asked them for financial aid, of which all of them said no. I think I used to get about 20 rejection letters when I was 17.
Wow.
But I still persevered. At the university of my first year, I found the financial aid office, and I wrote them a letter, and I applied for bursary or loan, whatever I could get. They then approved a loan. It was really stressful because the loan was compounded daily with interest.
Daily. Ooh.
So it would be like 3 Rand interest a day, but compounded daily. So at the end of my 4-year study, I had 120,000 Rand debt. So
How did that feel?
I remember pacing up and down and not sleeping, and going, how will I pay this off? Like I didn't even understand. That was 6 years of my dad's salary, like annual salary. So it was quite a lot of money. But I paid it off, and here I am. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I hope the education was worth it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a total advocate for, if you have nothing, like you've got to, by growing yourself, you know, educate yourself, learn. Like, yeah.
And how did you get the idea to apply for financial aid? Because you said in the phone book you called a bunch of companies, and like you didn't give up. Like it would have been so easy to give up when you don't have that money. Like I'm so impressed. Like how did you come up with this?
I think it was desperation. I don't know.
Diamonds.
I think I was just desperate. Like I had to get out of Glencoe.
Yeah.
Like if you understand how small the town was, and people are born and they die there. They don't get out. That's their whole lives are spent there.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends who were really academically smart and did really well, they were too scared to leave. So I feel like it's this disease of like the poor or like small towns where even if you're smart, you don't leave because you're scared, because fear holds you back. So
It's just that
I think
cycle that can't be broken.
yeah, so I guess I looked at people's lives in Glencoe and went, I don't want any of their lives. I don't want to be my parents.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be any of the lives that I saw that were in that town. And I wanted something different for myself.
You're so brave.
Thank you. I think it didn't feel like bravery at that time. It was just desperation,
Yeah.
survival.
Yeah. Aww. Yeah, and then let's talk about careers and jobs. So there was something that changed your life, right? EY did a campus recruitment initiative.
Yeah, so when I passed in my 4th year uni, EY did a campus recruitment, EY South Africa.
Awesome.
And one of my tutors was part of the campus recruitment.
That helps.
So grateful for him. Because I was walking around the halls at Wits University in Johannesburg, and I didn't know what to do, because I was like, why would any of these companies hire me? Like, what do I have to offer?
Yeah.
And I remember walking past the EY table, not even considering going there, and he said, like, come and fill out the form, just come here.
Yeah.
And they did like a mini interview. They did like pre-interviews at the uni.
Wow.
So they must have liked me, I don't know, because I got hired very shortly after. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then tell me about your role at EY. What exactly were you doing when you graduated?
I did predominantly internal audit, but IT audit. So pre-implementation reviews. I found that really easy. Mainly breaking other people's codes. So I remember one of the developers standing behind me, watching what I did, because I broke the code, like just doing testing, user testing.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun job.
Yeah, it was pre-implementation reviews are pretty fun. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And then tell me, after EY, what happened? You went to Deloitte.
So after EY South Africa, I moved to Australia. I came to Deloitte.
Yeah.
That was just relocation, so they helped me move here, which I'm also super grateful for. I was with them for a few years, and then I went to Queensland Government for about 11 years. That's where I had the kids.
Yes.
And then worked part-time, and now I'm back at EY for the second time, so I'm very happy.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, you did EY like pre-kids, and then you're like coming back to EY post-kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome. And how was it like working in government? It must have been a big like switch when you go from Big Four into a more maybe like slower pace, more chill.
I think at first I was too efficient. I felt like I was too, because I just work at a very much faster pace than everyone else.
Yeah.
But then I shortly started working part-time because I had my first kid.
Yeah.
And so then I think the flexibility and the calmness of not private sector was helpful to me, like being a mom and being able to raise my kids, and it was a lot calmer.
Yeah, you don't want to be fighting on all fronts.
I guess a relaxed pace. Yeah, it was helpful for when I was a mum, so I really appreciated being in government then.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and then you're also moving into a different topic, creative projects. Yeah, so you're super creative. You had a book. You have a book, but you didn't bring it because you had to pre-order your own book, which is kind of funny. But tell me more about the book.
So I've published a book, a coffee table book.
Yeah.
It's semi-religious, so it's called The 99 Names of God. And it wasn't all me. My husband's the artist. So
that's so good.
He came up with the idea for a coffee table book. I guess it's close to my heart because I wanted to kind of leave something that's important to me. So something that represents my values, that my kids could relate to as well.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful book.
And something that's a bit modern and
Yeah.
trendy and smart, I guess, that I could put on my coffee table. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And tell me more about the process of writing a book. It takes a long time.
So because it's not written, it's a coffee table book. It required a lot of stock photography. So my hubby and I worked. Once we put the kids to bed, we did like 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. for about 6 months, and then got it published. So it's on Amazon.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. And I also find that when we first met, we had this conversation about efficiency. Yeah, and then can you tell me more about that? How you sort of plan everything? Because having 4 kids, that's like a lot of mouths to feed.
It is. So again, my very artistically inclined hubby, he learned how to do sous vide cooking.
Yeah.
And so we vacuum seal our meat and put it in a water bath to cook. And you can do that while you're sleeping. So while you're sleeping or while I'm at work, I'm going to do the grocery shopping, the meat cooks on its own. And so it just makes things a lot easier and quicker to do. So we have all these like smarts to, I guess, juggle work and life. We outsource our washing as well. So
Yeah, that's so awesome. I'm going to ask you for cooking tips after. I need some quick, easy meals. I don't have kids, but yeah. Time poor. Yeah. And then so tell me, how exactly do you balance work and life and kids?
I don't sleep.
Yeah, you're always so stressed. My gosh, but you're still
No.
smiling, which I'm grateful for.
I balance it by, well, my hubby and I are a team, so which is really great. So we kind of share the work. The kids are mostly self-sufficient now. You know, they 10, 11, 12 and 13. So yeah, they do a lot of the things themselves or help us. I work part-time as well, so it does help to juggle everything.
Yeah, makes sense. Oh, I did also want to ask you about work. So I know that at EY you did like more internal audit stuff, and now you're doing cyber. So how does that happen? And what exactly do you do?
I think my internal audit career just evolved into IT, like, because I think everything is on a computer these days.
It is.
So I was working for government for 11 years, and I wanted to get back into something, you know, that was more futuristic. And I joined the Goanna program. So
shout out to Goanna.
So they did this Yapang initiative where they teamed with AWS, and they have this program called AWS Restart. So it's a 12-week program to upskill women, veterans, basically anyone who wants to get into IT. So awesome. I became a cloud practitioner, certified AWS cloud practitioner through them. And I felt it was really easy. So that was my first interest in the cloud. And my goal is to be a solutions architect.
Yes.
But that's not going very far at the moment
Because
it's quite technical. And so I guess I'm at this point now where my career is just evolving into a slightly more technical one. Being in cyber really helps with that as well, trying to understand all the technical controls. So
that is awesome. Yeah. And then now I also want to talk about mental health. Yeah. So how have you sort of coped with different mental health struggles along the years, and how do you remain hopeful?
So I think most people would some part in their life struggle with mental health.
Or know someone who has struggled.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of growing oneself is to have those mental challenges and push yourself. So I've had quite a few of them. I think, so I'm just trying to put them all into context. So I had both pre and postnatal depression.
Yeah.
I also, I think just during like my schooling, university, when I first started working, I had a lot of anxiety as well. Moving to Australia was very nerve-wracking. Leaving a whole country, moving to Australia. So I think probably that was one of the most anxious times of my life.
Yeah, and how do you cope? Like, do you have any tips for people who are feeling anxious or depressed?
So I've had a whole team of people help me. I think
That's awesome.
you don't do it alone.
Yeah.
You ask for help. I had counselors who helped me. I did parent counseling, myself counseling.
Yeah.
Like coaching myself, having a counselor, having a psychologist. I wasn't sleeping very well, so I went on antidepressants as well. I guess part of growing and being your best self is to work on yourself. And so I didn't do it alone. I just had a team of people help me.
Yeah, but I think it's awesome. Sometimes people, they try to hide it, but getting help always helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have, I guess, this mindset of how I look at life. And so when things get really hard, I, put my head up, and in my head I tell myself like one day at a time, or 1 foot at a time, or one breath at a time, or one moment at a time. And so when you bring that down to like a small piece, like it's just one day, it makes things easier.
Yeah, it does.
Especially when you're feeling overwhelmed and if you're feeling really sad, or have had days where I couldn't get out of bed, then if you break it down to all I have to do is put 1 foot in front of the other and go to the bathroom, get out of bed. So
yeah, I completely agree. I definitely do that through hard times. Yeah, and another hard time that you did experience was having the courage to leave the first marriage.
Yes, that was also a really difficult time in my life. I guess, we just had different values, and so I just wanted to be in an environment where I could be myself.
Yeah.
And also raise my girls in that environment where I could be free to be myself.
Yeah, and you're a very creative person and a very outside the box thinking kind of.
Yeah, I don't know about creative, but
I think you are, because you challenge a lot of social norms, just the way you cook and just the way you sort of efficiently manage your life. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's awesome. So we're nearly at the end of the podcast. Thank goodness, right? Just a few more quick questions. So one is, what do you think the meaning of life is in your opinion?
I think to self-love and self-respect.
Yeah, for sure.
Oneself, and to master oneself. Because I think if you know who you are and what your values are, then you are closer and more aligned to what your life is supposed to be, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, that's cool. And if you won the lottery tomorrow and finances were not a concern, what would you change about your life? What would you do differently?
I wouldn't actually change anything. I have this weird way of thinking. Especially when I make hard decisions, I assume that I've won the lottery.
Yeah.
So that I don't have money as an excuse to make poor choices. So I mostly assume that I've won the lottery.
That's so good.
And then work from there.
Yeah, but it's like having a mindset of abundance rather than working out of scarcity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Also, I think you can have constraining choice making when you think I don't have something.
Yeah.
So I just kind of pretend that I have won the lottery.
Yeah.
And then work myself from there.
Nah, that is so awesome. That's so smart. I didn't think about that. Yeah, and the final question is, what is an ideal perfect day in life for you? It can be work related, it can be non-work related. What would you do? What time would you wake up? Do you like going to the beach?
I think I kind of make every day a perfect day for me.
Wow.
So I think it's about mindset, because there is no perfection in life.
That's true.
So I've watched a few really great movies which kind of given this attitude. Maybe I've always been like it as well, I don't know. I don't leave anything for tomorrow, so I give everything my best today.
Yeah.
And so then when I go to bed each night, I know I've lived today the best way I could.
Aw,
And so,
no regrets.
yeah. And so then I know that day is my perfect day because I've given it my all. I've done my best for that day.
Yeah, that's cool. So congratulations, we're at the end of the podcast. How was your experience? I know you were super nervous. Just so proud of you.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
It's hard talking about yourself.
It is, and it's a bit awkward. But yeah, I definitely love listening to your story, and yeah, my audience will love it as well. So yeah, you want to say bye?
Bye, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Bye.